What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 31 of Overhand Right Radio. My name is Jason, and of course, sitting across from me is my brother Cole. We're going to talk about everything that happened in Brazil. We're going to talk about what's going down in the Down Under in Australia with UFC 221. We're going to break down a phenomenal fight between Mark Hunt and Curtis Blades, which has a lot of implications on the heavyweight division. We're going to talk about Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero for the interim middleweight title. Of course, we have another interim fight for an interim title, man. It's getting too regular in the UFC. I don't like it. But besides the fact, that's going to be a phenomenal card. But let's talk about the here and now, what's going down in the news like we always do. Let's talk about UFC 222 because unfortunately, Max Holloway had to pull out of the fight, and now Frankie Edgar wants to stay on the card, but he doesn't have an opponent. So we're looking and we're going, dang, man, this featherweight division is every time we try to set up Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar. It was first Frankie Edgar pulling out. Now it's Max Holloway. It's like, man, hopefully third time's the charm because I really want to see this fight. I think this is the most intriguing fight out of all the number one contender and champion fights across any division in the UFC. But for Frankie Edgar, they need to jump on a fight right away. I said it on Twitter. I said it on Instagram. I said it on Facebook. Frankie Edgar needs to stay on the card. Okay, I wouldn't ditch that fight. Because right now, when you look at your champions, a lot of them are booked up or not ready to fight on that short notice. When you have a guy like Frankie Edgar that's already probably in training camp doing his thing, keep him in there. Don't pull him out of training camp. Plus, he hasn't fought in a long time. The fight to make, well, I'll ask you first. Who do you... I think keep Frankie Edgar in there. But if you had one person to match him up against, who would you choose? I know who I got.
I'm not too sure who I would choose, just based on I don't know. I don't know if anyone deserves that kind. Is it going to be an interim? I don't think it will be.
To me, it's an easy decision. It really is.
Who do you got?
Okay, well, I'll just and I'll answer your question about interim. You look at Max Holloway as the champion. Then go down the list. Okay,
right.
Frankie Edgar's at 2. He's already there. You look at Jose Aldo. Well, we know how Jose Frankie goes. Okay, we read the book twice. And we know if Jose Aldo wins, how Max Holloway and Jose goes. We read that book twice. So don't put Jose in this picture. I know he's a long-time champ, but just don't do it because you're recycling the same thing. You're recycling the same thing.
But Jose Aldo could easily say, hey, I beat Frankie twice. I deserve to be here.
True.
He could make the argument. I don't think he is. He hasn't said anything on social media or anything. So I probably don't think that's going to be the circumstance.
He also has to think, hey, if I do beat Frankie, I still got to go up and fight Max for a third time.
Yeah, and we don't know where his head's at.
Yeah, and I know the UFC's not going to do that just because it's going to be a cluster and it's going to be the same thing.
They want fresh blood too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, and then you go down the list and you hit Brian Ortega. Stop right there. That's all you need. Brian Ortega just won his victory over Cub Swanson, who's number 5. He's on a roll. He's undefeated. He's young. He's fresh. He's new. Insert him in the picture. Frank Edgar is really good at wrestling. He possesses some dangerous things that not a lot of people in the 145 division have right now, which is very, very incredible jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. The reason why I picked Brian Ortega is because of all that, but also because you go down one and you look at number 4, which is Josh Emmett, and he's matched up with Stevenson coming up in a couple of weeks. So that's not going to happen because they're already booked. You go to Cub Swanson. Well, he lost to Ortega, so you're not going to put Cub Swanson over Ortega. Ricardo Lamas just got knocked out by Josh Emmett. And, of course, when you go down, there's less credible people that deserve the shot. So when you look just after Brian Ortega, you go, hey, people are booked. People coming off losses. Lost to Brian Ortega. It just doesn't make any sense. So, really, I don't think you have to look any further than Brian Ortega. Look, like you said, fresh blood. It's new. It's matched up. He's a young guy, hungry. I think that's a fight to make. I also think don't put an interim title on the line here. You don't need to do that. Okay? UFC's obsessed with this thing where they go, man, we got to make it a title fight to sell pay-per-views. No. If it's a dope fight, it's going to be a dope fight. Yeah. Whitaker and Yoel Romero was a dope fight. And they would have sold pay-per-views no matter who's wearing the gold. Because interim titles, you kind of... There's a title, but you know it's not for the true title.
It can get messy, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like everyone's worried when you put interim on it and you have something like you have at lightweight, it just gets messy. The guys fighting don't even really know if they're fighting for the true belt or not. It just gets messy. Like it's not. It doesn't sound like Max is going to be away for a year or 2 years. So just don't even go there, right?
And the thing is, then you look through the record books and you're going to go, there's like 5 champions with a span of 2 years. Conor McGregor, Jose was an interim, then Jose was a champ, Max was the interim. Now, like, you can't put another guy in the record books like that. I think it just messes things up. Put that fight on. Don't make it for an interim title. All you have to say is, hey, whoever wins this fight is the number 1 contender to go up and fight Max Holloway. Now, will Frankie Edgar take that fight is another question. Because, look, Frankie Edgar's already in the title picture. Now you got to look and say, is Frankie Edgar going to put his number 1 contendership on the line against a very dangerous Brian Ortega? Or is he going to go, no, I'm going to wait it out? Or is it UFC kind of going to pressure him a little bit because they don't really have a fight for that pay-per-view right now?
The rumors are, I think, that he wants to stay on it. The UFC is going to try to keep him on it. And I do agree with you. He should fight because he pulled out last time.
Yeah. So
he hasn't fought in a while. I would agree. Brian Ortega, from a scheduling point, from a rankings point, is the next guy. Is he ready for a Frankie Edgar?
That's a big question.
That might be a little. That's a big jump.
Yes.
That is a big jump, and that's why I said before. I don't know if anyone really deserves that position or is truly ready. Right, but I mean, like you said, Ortega from a scheduling standpoint, from a ranking standpoint, should be that guy. And his height, his reach, will give Frankie problems in the stand-up, and his jiu-jitsu makes Frankie think, 2 times about shooting a double leg, especially with that nasty guillotine. Yeah. Right. So I mean, it is interesting.
If this fight was to happen, I would lean towards Ortega. Actually. That's just my opinion.
Making a quick prediction. Ooh.
I would lean towards Ortega just because I think highly of Brian Ortega.
It'd be close. I'd have to really think about that one. But also, there has been. I'm going to call him lukewarm, very lukewarm about Nate Diaz.
Oh. But
he said he's ready and willing to go at UFC 222, but of course with a Diaz and Dana White, there needs to be a whole contract thing going. Then you got to find an opponent. It would be sick if he could step in. I mean, you got to think if you're in his camp right now, if you're in Nate Diaz's camp, you're not getting the Conor fight. It's probably not going to happen, right? So you have to be thinking. You have to be thinking. Another big fight. Doesn't have to be huge. Another big fight. So when Conor does do his title fight or whatever, the next fight after that, you're there again as a possible opponent.
Yeah. Here's my thing with Nate Diaz, man. It's frustrating because I love the fighter. I've met him before back at UFC 115 when I came here to Vancouver. I met him. Great guy, no matter what you think, right? What image he's portrayed. Very nice guy. He's a warrior. Been around the sport for a long time. Veteran. I think everybody loves the Diaz brothers and Nate Diaz. Here's my thing, though. After he beat Conor, he was one of the biggest stars. After 220, even when he lost to Conor, he's still one of the biggest stars. But he's losing momentum slowly because he's not in there where the action jumps off. I know he wants this. He says, hey, I'll step in at 222 if the price is right. But here's the thing, man. They're not going to pay you $10 million to come and fight. To fill in. You should use this platform to come fill in, sell some pay-per-views, get that momentum back, and then next fight you can come in and get a payday. I just think his momentum's slowing down. I think Nate Diaz stepping in at 222 it's not going to happen. The UFC is not going to give him the price tag he wants, and then he's not going to come in and say, hey, I'm going to save your bacon if you're not willing to give it up to me. Lukewarm, cold as a fish.
Listen, I understand why he waited to see if he could get that Conor fight because it is the biggest payday he could possibly get in the sport. I understand that. But you're at a stage now, if you're his camp and you're his manager, you're going, that fight's not happening.
No, not at all.
Right? Like, the percentages are so low right now. Right? He's fighting Khabib and Tony. I mean, from the rumors, what we think, different experts' opinions, that's 90% going down.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Unless something crazy happens. So if you're Nate, like you said, stay on that fire a bit. Don't stay cold and off to the side.
No.
Listen, if Nate Diaz comes out and he versus a top lightweight, a top welterweight, and beats him, no matter if Conor wins or loses, you're probably listen, the whole Floyd thing's probably not happening. Let's be honest. So if Conor loses, or let's say Tony beats Khabib, or Khabib beats Tony, whatever you want to do. Let's go Tony, for argument's sake. If Conor beats Tony, who's he probably fighting next?
Tony, whoever wins that fight.
No. After if Tony beats Khabib,
Yes.
and then Tony fights Conor, win or lose for Conor, Nate Diaz is a possible opponent next.
Yeah, but the thing is right now...
But that's what I'm saying. So fight now.
Yes.
Keep your name relevant. Sell pay-per-views. Get a huge win. And then you're probably top of the list after that interim guy, whoever he is, fights Conor. Win or lose for Conor.
Yeah, because here's the thing with Nate right now. He's ranked 8, right? Because he was number 4 at one point, I believe, or something around there in the top 5, and he's literally slipping down the line just from being inactive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Say, like, okay, yeah, you look at some guys that are booked or some just had a fight, but like, make it happen. Like, you look at a guy like possibly like Eddie Alvarez, number 3, fight him possibly.
Dude, he could beat Alvarez.
Exactly.
I would pick Nate. Like that's a perfect opponent. Eddie used to be a world champion, coming off a dominant win.
You win that fight, you slide up to number 3.
Exactly.
You slide into the top 5. And now, like you said, after Conor, Tony, Khabib, whatever that fight is, you're next in line. But if you sit there and you don't do anything, the fire's going to burn out, and then eventually you're not going to be the talk of the town.
Yeah.
When a year ago, he was the hottest topic, maybe in MMA. He was one of the biggest stars. Right? Everybody was on board with Diaz. And now it just seems like it's kind of
if you're
burning out.
Diaz, you want to kind of see... If the money's driving you, right, after this Conor fight, don't you want to see what you can do on your own a little? Because let's say you do a huge number on your own, and then that Conor fight comes again. I mean, you could demand the world.
Yeah, this has always been...
I mean, there is a risk that he could go on his own and do really badly, but I don't think that's going to happen. And then they could lowball him for the Conor fight if that fight ever happens. But if somehow you went... let's say you stepped in UFC 222, you fought Alvarez, you whooped on him, and you sold, 700,000 pay-per-views or 800,000 pay-per-views, whatever it is, a big number. And then that Conor fight rolled around. 10 million, you could probably get 20. Pay-per-view cut, 20 million, you could demand way more. Yep. Yes, it is a higher risk, high reward situation, but that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be big, you got to take risks.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what Conor's done.
Yeah.
Went in there against Floyd, got paid. Fought Chad on short notice. Shit talked all the one. When you shit talk is, everyone thinks shit talking is bad. It's not bad. If you shit talk and win, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Do it. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
If people love when fighters. Alshon Jeffrey just did in the Super Bowl. He said, "We're bringing it back," and now he's a hero, right? Like just when Conor's magic happened because he said, "I'll take him on the first round," and he did it, and you're like, "How the heck?" And then he kept doing that with fights and fights and fights. So, getting back to the basics, I think Ortega would be.
Yeah, I think Frankie Ortega's the fight to make. I think Nate Diaz out there. I know there's been Cody and TJ, but that pretty much got shut down on Twitter right away. Yeah.
It also does depend on when Max is back. Because if they say, well, Max, you can jump on 223, okay, well, then maybe maybe Frankie waits then. It's kind of a waiting game a little bit.
Yeah. I know people are talking TJ Cody. That's not going to happen either. Just because.
Well, here's the other thing: if Frankie doesn't fight on that card, they got to find a main event quick.
Exactly.
There's a lot happening before it with 221 and then 222, 224. They would have to figure out something real quick because if you look,
it's in less than a month.
Exactly, because if you look at that UFC 222 undercard. I mean, there's nobody who could step into the main event.
The Stefan Struves are lost. The co-main event, I should say, is Stefan Struve and Arlovsky.
Probably shouldn't even be a co, to be honest.
It should be mid-card.
Mid-card.
And then you got CBW Hector Lombard. So you can't really.
There's no one that should even be a co on that. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
This is not a fight night. This is not a. I mean, Fox would even do better than this. I mean, if you lose this, I mean, this is that fight between Frankie and Max was the reason you were going to buy this card.
Yeah, 100%.
And if Frankie doesn't get a legit opponent, I mean,
and you can't even. Usually, sometimes they take. Okay.
Could you even do Ortega though? Would Ortega taking Frankie even sell as your main event on a pay-per-view? I mean, I know at some point it's like, well,
well, that's a really good fight, though. That's a really good fight.
Yeah, but a pay-per-view, you gotta think about buys. Like, yeah, UFC, well, to sum this up, UFC's in a hole right now, and they gotta get out of it somehow.
And usually, sometimes, if there's a fight night or something the week before, they drop back like the code. But, I mean, Josh Emmett and Jeremy Stevens, can you really do that? No. You can't do Jessica Andrade.
Well, you could drop it back to give the card depth, but you don't have a marquee fight.
Yeah.
They somehow have to pull a rabbit out of their hat to find a marquee fight for UFC 222. How? Where will they find it? I don't know. But they're gonna have to.
Yep. Some way, somehow.
You might have to pay Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
You might have to pay him, right? Because if you can do Frankie Ortega, and then you can do Nate Diaz Alvarez, you've saved the card.
Yeah.
You've instantly saved the card.
We'll see what happens though, but
we'll see.
Let's talk about the fights that happened last weekend from Brazil. It was a 6-fight main card.
Yeah.
Really good main card. It kicked off with Thiago Santos and Anthony Smith, and I was watching it in a restaurant with my girlfriend, and there was no volume, but in my head, under my breath, I was going, oh crap, holy crap, this is a war. The first round was phenomenal.
Well, I mean, we called it. We said these two guys are big, powerful punchers. Both have sort of a Muay Thai, aggressive style.
Big, long middleweights too. Big, tall guys.
And they were going at it. Both were getting stunned. Both throwing big shots. It was the fight you thought was going to happen, right?
Yeah, it was a good way to kick off the main card. I mean,
yeah, it was great. And Thiago getting the win.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on a bit of a roll now.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he hasn't beat huge names. But now he's on that type of a roll. And he said post-interview that he needs a top guy next. And I agree with that. Okay, maybe not top 3, but maybe you match him up with a Wyman or a Calvin Gastelum or something like that, right? I mean, he does deserve, for whatever you think about him and the guys he's beat lately, he does deserve. I mean, he's winning.
Yeah,
that's all he can do.
Well,
all he can do is beat the guys that are in front of him. And for the last 4 times he stepped in the UFC octagon, he's done just that. So,
well, he's ranked number 15 right now after that win. Yeah,
he should have a top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I believe so too. That middleweight division is good, man. There's some people coming up. I mean, you look at guys like Brad Tavares and Thiago Santos have put wins together, and they're coming up in the ranks. So they'll be in the top 10 before you know it. But yeah, I think overall, goodbye to Thiago Santos. Anthony Smith, good performance, just didn't get it done. But, we see the power he possesses. 26 out of 28 wins by finish, no matter how it is. So he's dangerous. It was a brawl. The kick landed beautifully. Caught him with the end of the toes. Went down, liver kick. Never been kicked there in my life. Don't want to be kicked there in my life. So, yeah, I mean, tough loss, but that was a good fight.
Interesting, man. You've seen this a few times now in the last year and a half where the left liver kick happens. And it just almost scrapes the toes, scrape past the liver and the abdomen.
Yeah.
And guys go down.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever saw that, I was like, he barely got touched.
Yeah, I know.
Right? And it almost seems like it hurts more if you get that kind of whipping of the toes and the front muscles of that foot, rather than if someone kind of hits you with the shin.
Yeah, I know.
Almost like the toes kind of dig in more than just a complete flat shin would coming in.
Yeah, because I noticed that on the replay too, and I think
it's just weird.
Eric
right?
Silva did it on the fight too, where he caught him with like the toes.
Yeah,
just the toes of it, and it dropped the guy. But
I think the toes just, you know what I mean? They just dig in where the flat shin doesn't, and I think it's that digging in that just get people. Because
Yeah.
if you're not a fan and even if you're a fan, if you've never seen that, you'd be like, did a ghost touch him? Like,
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. But
crazy.
give credit to Anthony Smith, man. Like, he was grabbing the leg, he was looking to stand up, but he was getting pounded. His side was hurting on him. But I really enjoyed that fight. That was a really good
fight of the night,
Yeah,
for sure.
I think good stoppage. He was trying to fight the leg, but it is what it is. Speaking about stoppages, though, let's go to Valentina versus Priscilla.
Yeah.
And Valentina, I think everybody thought, the odds makers, everybody thought Valentina was going to get the win. You know, this is a women's flyweight fight, new division. She came down, probably a good weight for her rather than bantamweight. She's kind of natural to this weight, got a big win. To sum it up, takedown, ground and pound, quick strikes, brutal.
Well, I mean, listen, the first exchange happened on the feet with punches, and then you instantly knew, okay, they're worlds apart.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it just... Don't
forget Priscilla's UFC debut here, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it was someone who looked like they just signed a UFC contract, and a woman who was a round away from being a world champion at a higher division. That's what it looked. That's what it looked like. That's how the fight played out. I mean, it was a mauling. When this fight first was announced, we kind of went, ugh. Like, I get that's a new division, and you got to see, you know, some of these other high top 5 women in these other classes coming, and they have to, quote unquote, prove themselves. I get that. But it just seems like when you do that, you're going to have these awkward mismatches, right? You're going to have these people like Valentina and Pena comes down ever. And I know she's pregnant and stuff, but if she ever gets back in and goes to that weight class, because she was discussing that before, you know, is she going to verse a girl like Priscilla that's new to the UFC? And like, you're going to have these weird mismatches.
yeah.
And there was some controversy about should the corner first of all, should the corner have stopped it?
Yes.
Because I mean, there was, when that ground and pound was happening a bit, you were kind of like, oh.
But here's the thing: don't even get the corner involved. What is the ref doing?
Well, okay, Yamasaki, when the fight was happening, she was ground and pound. I understand him letting that go, but there was a point to the end of the fight where he was late, where he kind of double clutched, where he should have stopped.
Here's my thing: first round, when Valentina was in the guard up against the cage, and she was landing hard elbows.
Yeah,
hard elbows, big shots, busted her open. I understand that. That's fine with me, right? She's not slamming away 100 mile like 10 in a minute.
No.
She's slowly repositioned down. You know, she's picking her shots. You don't stop a fight there. Those are just hard shots. You know, Priscilla's trying to defend herself. She's just getting outskilled. Let's be honest. In the second round, though, when Valentina has her in the crucifix position, and she's just pounding away. Pounding away.
That sequence was just too long for me.
Not only that, is that then Valentina went for a submission. And then when she wasn't successful, went back into the crucifix and did the same thing for like another 60 seconds. And I'm going, okay, clearly there's a skill level difference.
Yeah,
even if you don't even if you don't think that these are the biggest shots in the world, you as a referee have to go, do I think this fighter within the next 2 minutes is even going to have a chance to stop these punches and advance? Or is she, is this, when is enough enough?
Well,
right?
I think, you know, Mario Akasami, he just didn't use his IQ here.
No.
I mean, you know, people crap on him all the time, but like you said, there was clearly throughout the whole fight, it was clearly one-sided. There's clearly a skill level difference. And you can't blame that on him. But at some point, when you see, like, Valentino's been kicking the crap out of her for now damn near, 8-7 minutes, and Priscilla basically has just been trying to survive.
Yeah.
And then, she's getting pounded. At some point, you as a ref, you got to go, okay, I have to give her the ability, but if nothing's happening on her side, and when I mean by nothing happening, I mean if she's not even defending herself properly. Like, not like
Yeah.
if my thing is, if a ref's looking at where to stop it, he should be looking at not whether she can win the fight, not whether the fighter can be aggressive, land punches. Can they defend themselves?
Yes.
The minute there is, brutal punishment happening, and it's happening for a, depending on how bad the punches are or the kicks are or whatever, but depending on how long that goes, as a ref, you have to gauge that and use your IQ to be like, is she taking too much damage? Can she get out? And Mario Yakasami apparently wasn't watching the whole fight because there was a complete skill level. She wasn't getting out of that fight.
No.
And that fight was clearly not, even if she lasted the round, the third round was probably going to be the same thing.
And here's the thing. She's in the crucifix position.
Which is the most dominant position.
And you know what's funny about that? Couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Daniel Cormier had Ozdemir in the crucifix position. And this Valentina was landing more shots and for a longer period of time than Cormier was landing.
Yeah.
But that ref, I forget who was reffing the Cormier Ozdemir fight, but maybe it was Herb Dean.
I want to say Herb, yeah.
But that fight right there, he's in the crucifix position, he's taking shots. If I let him stay here for another 30 seconds, he's going to take more shots, and I'm not protecting the fighter as a referee. In this case, Mauro did not do that. He did not protect the fighter. And not only that, crucifix twice, and then Valentina moved into mount and landed more shots where he didn't stop the fight. My point is, it's like you said, it's not about, can she come back? What about this? You can't look at the fight like that. You need to look at the fight and go, she's clearly not going to get out of this position because it's been 30 seconds, and she clearly doesn't know how, or has the technique advantage or the skill advantage over Valentina to get out of this. And not only that, is she's taking shots, she's bloody. I need to stop the fight to prevent this from further damage, and he didn't do that. And I you know what? Like, there might be some people that say, hey, it's okay, it wasn't the worst shots of the world. Might be some people that are crapping on him like Dana White does every freaking press conference whenever he makes a mistake. But I'm not going to say he's the worst ref in the world.
Listen, he's had a long history of letting it go a little long.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, that is a fact. You can go to various fights, +5 at least, where he's let it go too long. Yeah. That's his trademark. That's when I say Mario Yakasami, they go, oh yeah, he lets it go a little long. I mean, there's a meme. They die, they die, right? Like he's got a reputation. So from that aspect, I wasn't surprised. Now there was a little controversy. Should the corner have thrown the white towel in?
I think so, 100%.
I think when Mario wasn't stopping it there for that last
2 minutes.
Well,
2
I'm
minutes
not going to do that.
Yeah,
but the last 30 seconds, I think if you're her corner, listen, I get believing in your fighter and all that stuff, but at some point you got to go. Even if you're thinking or how you have to come to terms with it is just it wasn't our night, right? You don't even have to be like, oh, she's just better. It's just not our night. Throw the towel in, right? I know fighters and coaches look at it as I'm quitting, right? And there's I mean even jiu-jitsu guys or some fighters have a problem with tapping. I have no problem with tapping. The people that okay, you either tap or you go unconscious. If a guy's got you in a hard rear naked choke and it's tight, the outcome does. I mean, he's gonna win whether you tap, whether you go out. In this fight, Valentina was clearly winning. If you throw the white towel in, all you're doing is doing what Mario basically wasn't doing, right? So, I mean, who knows? They probably would have threw the white towel and Mario probably would have looked at it and went, someone lose a towel? I mean, let's be honest. He's not the Bryce Bulb, you know? But anyways, it was clearly a mismatch. We saw this coming pre-fight. Priscilla's a tough girl, though, you know? To her, you know, to her credit and positive note, she fought. I mean, she never truly quit,
Yeah,
right?
no.
She kept going, she kept moving, even though she was bloody. And I mean, at that point, you wonder what the psyche is doing. I mean, at that point, you're getting beat so bad, you're probably going, I gotta find a way, right? But yeah, it was clearly a mismatch, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's move on to the main event. Lyoto Machida versus Eric Anders.
Yes.
How do you think this fight went, Matt? Because there's a little bit of controversy, and we all know how Brazilian judges are sometimes.
I'll say this. It was when the 5 rounds had went, I had it 3-2 Eric Anders. Okay? Now, to put quotation marks around this, I had 2 rounds where I said to myself, it could flip.
Yes.
There were 2 rounds where it was so close, I probably had to be with I probably had to have a piece of paper and a pen and write down everything, because you get this with Machida fights. Because you can say for 5 rounds, who's the aggressor? All 5 rounds, all 25 minutes. Eric.
100%.
So bang, he's got that down. Who controlled the octagon better? Eric Anders. Bang. Okay, so he's won basically half of the categories that they judge on.
And when you looked at
clean, precise strikes and volume, it was Machida.
Yes.
But you get these in Machida fights. When his fighting style is basically, I'm going to lose those 2 things. I'm going to lose control. I'm going to lose the aggressiveness.
Yeah.
But I'm going to beat you trying to counter you.
Yeah.
Now, my problem with this fight is he did counter successfully, but I don't know if he did it enough or hard enough, especially with his hands, to make it a clear decision for him.
Yeah. I think because the way it works like that is they go by striking, grappling, and then if there's a gray area and you don't know, then you go by.
Well, it's just the 4 things. They don't really. I understand how judges might prioritize, but it's supposed to be equal. It's supposed to be equal.
Isn't it striking and grappling, and then if those are kind of even, then they look at aggression or octagon control?
I don't know.
I think so.
You don't think? I think it's all 4.
No, I think those are like you. Who knows? But I think it's striking, grappling, and then if those are kind of like tied, kind of thing, tied in whatever it is, or they don't know who's had the advantage of that, then it might. Who knows?
I mean,
but a lot of people look at who's pushing the pressure when it comes to striking as well, too, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, Eric Anders did land some big punches, but he clearly lost the volume. But kind of going back to how I scored it, I had 3-2 Andrews. I gave him Machida 1 round I thought was close, and I gave him 1 round I thought was close. So when the 5 rounds were done, I said, "Here's the split." Yeah. Right? When we watch fights and we see this all the time,
whenever there's a close fight, there's a split.
It's a split, and immediately I'm like, "It's in Brazil." Listen, I'm not a guy who believes in
conspiracy,
like when the NFL came out and did a boo-boo with saying the Vikings were versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Everybody's going nuts. Oh, they're conspiracying for the Pats. And how did that work out? Eagles just won a Super Bowl. So, I'm not one of those guys, but there's a pattern that if you're a Brazilian fighter and you're in Brazil and the rounds are a little iffy, like they were in the Machida fight, you're probably if the judges will probably look your way.
Yeah, and
right.
Here's the thing: I had Anders just like you winning the fight 3-2.
Yeah.
So they read 48-47 in this case, 5 round fight. 48-47 Machida. 48-47 Anders, and I'm going okay. So the next one's going to be 48-47, and then out of left field there's a 49-46 for Machida, and I'm going, okay.
Yeah.
To your point, yeah, but that was a swing vote, and that one person saw the fight 4-1 for Machida.
Okay, so that person, when I said about my 2 flex rounds, they went Machida's way.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to kill that a Brazilian bias or whatever? There is a little,
I saw Anders winning 2 at least.
Yeah, no, he clearly won 2.
Yeah.
He clearly won 2. The judge who came saying 4-1.
Yeah. I think the hardest round to judge was number 2. Round number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the swing factor in the decision for the 48-47s. The 2 judges that went that for both men. But the 49-46 was ridiculous. But, I mean, maybe it was being in Brazil. Maybe it was this and that. Either way, it was a close fight. But I just wish the scorecards were a little closer.
But again, this is a fight where if one judge, we talk about the Brazilian stuff or whatever, but this is also a judging problem as well. Because you can clearly say, well, Andrews was the aggressor.
Yep.
The whole fight.
Landed harder shots,
control the whole fight. So if you're a judge who values that more, you come from a strike down. You like aggressive fighters who land big punches.
You gave it to Anders.
If you like kind of this elusive
counter movement,
volume counter striking, maybe you throw it to Mitch. We see this all the time, and I always think, okay, is this judge a boxing judge? Is he a striking coach? Is this a grappling guy who loves jiu-jitsu, right? There's so many times we see jiu-jitsu guys work from the bottom. Really work. And the guy laying on top
gets the nod.
This thing. And I would say, okay.
The craziest thing ever.
The guy on top gets a nod for a takedown. But there's some times where the guy on the ground is controlling and landing more punches.
Looking for arm bars, looking for triangles, looking for submissions. I know
think
exactly what you're saying.
There's got to be a unified system of scoring where we clearly say, this is more than this. But, I mean, that we could talk about that for 2 hours because the UFC and the commissions haven't even got that 100% right. So,
okay.
But it was a close split decision. I don't think no one got robbed.
No.
But, it was super close. You get these in Machida fights, so.
Okay. Anders, I think he's on his way up. He's got to bounce. He's going to bounce back. He's a young guy. He's coming up. He'll be fine.
And I think he did really good against a tricky Machida.
He did.
A lot of guys have problem finding Machida, and there were times in that fight I went, ooh, like Machida was on skates a few times, trying to get away and trying to hit the angle of the octagon. So Anders, to me, I think for how young he is in his career, I think did a pretty damn good job cutting off the octagon and finding Machida. And also, you saw his maturity to be patient with it.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of young guys, including Ryan Bader,
when he was young at the time.
They rush in, right? Yeah. They think, oh, I'm back, and I'm go. And then Machida hits you with that one punch.
Yeah. I remember what I said on the last podcast when we were breaking this down. I said he's got to come forward and be the aggressor, but he's got to be patient. Because if he misses with one of those swings, Machida will make him pay for it. But when I was watching that, I noticed that about him. I said, maybe he should have been a little bit more. But I really liked that he wasn't rushing in there, and he was being patient with it, and he wasn't putting himself at risk.
And kind of going back to that just reminded me of when Lyoto fought Rampage.
Yep.
Very similar fight to what we saw on Saturday night, and you saw those judges give it to Rampage in the 3-2.
Yeah.
So, that's how close this fight was, For Anders, I don't look at this as like a hard loss. I look at it as a teachable moment. First of all, you went down for Brazil and fought a Brazilian in the main event. That is, some UFC fighters will not do that.
No,
will not do that because it's a hard flight. You're in a foreign country. A lot of fighters believe in the judging bias. So for him just to do that versus a legend, huge. He's only going to get better. And you see the potential in him to be great. So
yeah. And for Lyoto Machida, look, we both had Anders by KO, TKO, whatever it was. But Lyoto Machida fought a smart fight. He did what he needed to do. He utilized leg kicks very good, the inside leg kick. For him next, he called out Michael Bisping. I could see them making that fight. I think I think that's a winnable fight, and I think he chose that fight because I think he thinks he could possibly beat Michael Bisping, and Michael Bisping's ranked high, don't forget. So if Lyoto gets that boosts him up in the ladder too. So I think for Machida's sake, he should do that fight, and hopefully Michael Bisping accepts it.
Yeah, I would agree. And then the whole Machida being a champion, it's not happening.
No.
I know he says the Dragon's back and he's going out, but you clearly see him in Machida's game. he's slowing down. And what I mean by that is Machida in his prime doesn't get touched. That Machida, same style, doesn't get touched. Like you even saw in that Andrews fight, he got touched. Like,
he got hit.
There were a few times where he was, I want to say lightly rocked. So I'm thinking, man, if a guy like Jacare or Derek Brunson knocks you out and caught you, I mean, a high-level, elite, explosive guy gets you, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Right? You can see that he's not, the reflexes, the speed, the getting hit to not getting hit is just slower. And his game is sort of predicated on that. And at a high level, it's just not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
But the Bisping fight is very interesting.
Yeah.
Two kind of guys on the way down, both legends in their own respect, both previous ex-world champions. It would be interesting. Winnable fight for both dudes.
Yeah, agreed. Sticking on the topic of middleweight.
Yep.
We got a title fight. A UFC 221 between Yoel Romero and
heavyweight co-main event.
Yes, and a heavyweight co-main event.
Ooh.
We won't get to the middleweights yet. We're on top of middleweights, but let's go to the heavyweight because we're going to disagree on this. We got Curtis Blades coming up the ranks to verse Super Samoan Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt, of course, is coming off his win of Derek Lewis, and Curtis Blades is coming off his win of Oleinik at UFC 217. Now, you look at Curtis Blades, you go 8-1. His only loss against Francis Ngannou by doctor stoppage. You look at Mark Hunt, and you go, okay, he lost to Lesnar, got knocked out by the ring, but bounced back against Derek Lewis in a very good fight. How's this fight going to go, man? Because when I look at this fight, I go, Mark Hunt. If you just do like, you know how they go, oh, the tail of the tape. Who has what? Who has the advantage of what? I go, okay, look. I go, Mark Hunt clearly has the edge in power. But I really think this fight is going to be dictated to see how Curtis Blades uses his speed. Because Curtis Blades, when you look at him, not the biggest heavyweight. He's not going to tip the scale at 265. He's not going to impose him with a physique like Ngannou. They're not going to call him the Predator. But he uses movement and speed very, very well. And that's how he was able to beat the Oleinik. That's how he was able to, beat all these guys coming up the ranks till he gets a spot in the co-main event against Mark Hunt, is because he used very good foot movement and his speed is very quick for a heavyweight, and people can't match that. So it's going to be interesting to see it with Mark Hunt has the power, Curtis Blades has the speed, how that's going to mix in this fight. I have my prediction, but how do you think this fight's going to go? Because to me, this is tough. But I think Curtis Blades' speed might be a big factor in this fight, and his foot movement. Because Mark Hunt, he's known as the big hitter. He's not known as the fastest guy, right? But I think Curtis Blades' speed might be something to watch out for.
What's your prediction?
Look, I see this fight. I think if it's going to finish, it's going to be with Mark Hunt to the right hand. But I don't think that's going to happen. I have Curtis Blades by decision just because I think his speed, his foot movement, he's going to circle around. He's going to use leg kicks. He's going to kick out the legs. He's going to use that jab. He's going to pop Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt's not the tallest guy. He's going to use the movement. He's going to stick to the outsides. And he's going to take the victory that way. I really think so. Look, this is the biggest test by far to Curtis Blades. But so far, he's been flawless on all his victories. Except for the Ngannou loss. And, of course, he has a no contest because he tested positive for marijuana. Hey, if the man wants to smoke a little grass, then be I think. But besides the point, he's 8-1. Should be 9-1 technically without the no contest. Coming up, he's been so far so good. This is his toughest test in Mark Hunt. And it's a big test, man. You're versing the heaviest hitter, probably second heaviest hit, maybe third behind Stipe and Ngannou, but one of the
Mark Hunt can hit harder than Stipe.
Whatever it is, you're versing a guy that can knock you out.
Yeah.
But this is the toughest test. But I think he's going to pass this test. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think he's going to get clipped 1 or 2 times. But I just think if he uses speed in his movement, utilizes leg kicks and the jabs, he'll get the victory. I'm going to go 29-28. Curtis Blades. Unanimous decision.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we disagree. Mark Hunt, first round KO.
What?
I'll just hit the prediction right now.
Oh, my God.
No, stop. Listen.
Oh.
Listen, where do you want me to start? Mark Hunt You know, no. I'll start with Curtis Blades. He's 8-1. Okay. Yeah, he's 8-1. He's got 7 by knockout, which means he likes throwing punches, landing elbows. Right? He's a wrestler. He's a wrestler by nature. Okay. He's a good. He has an all-around good game. But is it at the level of Mark Hunt? Oh, hell no. You got no chance. Okay. I'm going to start doing the Vince and then listen, come on. Mark. Okay. Could Curtis Blades beat Derek Lewis?
I think so.
I don't think he could. I don't think he could. And listen, Mark Hunt does. Listen, when you look at Mark Hunt, you see this immobile, short, 5'11", looking like just a guy who hits hard. But you look at the guys he's versed, and the guys, even his losses against Alistair and Verdum, he's given those guys who are tall, lengthy, use great distance, have great foot movement. He's given them problems. Hell, if he keeps his hands up, he knocks out Verdum.
But here's the thing. What does Mark Hunt struggle against? Speed. You look at...
Who's outspeeded him?
Stipe Miocic.
Okay, the greatest heavyweight of all time. Stop. Okay, you're comparing the greatest heavyweight of all time to Curtis Blades?
No, but Brock even beat him.
Steroid Brock, yes.
Oh, true.
Who took him down.
Verdum beat him with the flying knee. He wasn't able to react. Mark Hunt carries his hands very low.
Hold up. In that fight, though,
he did drop Verdum.
He made one mistake. But up to that mistake, I know he finished the fight off that one mistake. But up to that mistake, was he not whooping Verdum's ass?
He was. But Mark Hunt clearly, it's against Stipe Miocic, the best heavyweight. But that was a fight you can look at and go, man, Stipe's a fast heavyweight. Same with Curtis Blades.
But Curtis Blades ain't Stipe. He ain't as polished.
I understand. But Stipe was able to strike quickly and transition to takedowns off those strikes.
Yeah, but can Curtis Blades do that?
We'll find out. I don't think Curtis Blades wants to take this fight to the ground. He's faster.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. I'm being dead serious with you.
No, hold on. You think Curtis Blades is going to want to stand up with Mark Hunt?
Yeah.
Stipe didn't want to do that.
Listen, though.
Stipe felt Mark Hunt and went, oh, hell no. All-American wrestler, here we go.
Listen, Curtis Blades has the foot movement and the speed to be able to land strikes and get out quick enough before Mark Hunt winds up with that hook and lands it.
But who's done that with success? Throughout 1 round, 2 rounds, who's done that with success?
Junior did a good job of throwing the jab and countering and not getting hit by Mark Hunt. It was Friday night, and he did get clipped a couple times. But he was never, ever...
But hold on. Are we comparing that Junior?
Listen, Mark Hunt's always fought within the top 5, so you're going to have to go to Pride where he was versing Japanese guys from the sushi shop.
No, but what I'm saying is, you look at Curtis Blades, and I don't see polished, slick striking with good foot movement.
What?
At the level
I need to throw up some YouTube.
Hold on. At the
God.
level of the guys you're talking about?
No, obviously not yet.
Then you don't think highly of Mark Hunt.
Okay, so if I go look at Stipe's last fight and compare him to a guy outside the top 15, you'll be like, how do I compare that? This is why I'm saying Curtis's Blades. This is his first jump. His toughest fight was Olynyk. You cannot compare Olynyk
his
and Mark Hunt.
was Ngannou.
Ngannou, yes, okay, but Ngannou was younger than that.
Starched, yeah.
Yes, but here's the thing. I know it sounds a reach when you compare them, just because Curtis Blades hasn't. This is a jump for him in competition, obviously.
I'm not even looking at the names and the records, Jason. I'm looking at what I see in the fights. And I don't see any way Curtis Blades wins this fight.
Okay, well...
just for you folks who are listening, Jason is on his laptop right now and pulling up Curtis Blades highlights. He's trying to find some.
I'm trying to find you a free fight.
Listen, I respect them. I get it. I see what you see in that. But do I think it's enough to beat Mark Hunt? Hell no.
We're going to sign your ass up for a trial fight pass. Whoa.
Shit. I just don't see it. I get it. He's a heavyweight that can move a bit. But for you to beat Mark Hunt standing up, I thought you were going to say he was going to take him down. I mean, for him to beat Mark standing up, he has to be an in-prime Junior, an in-prime Kane, an in-prime Stipe. I don't even think he's near that. Can he do that against the guys he's beat? Yeah, he has. I mean, Oleinik. What? Oleinik? Listen, people who love Oleinik, who are Ukrainian or whatever, I get it. He beat Travis Brown. Travis Brown is not the guy he, used to be. I mean, this guy's won 3 UFC fights. Okay, so Jason right now is pulling up highlights right now, or this is him, or these are just highlights.
Yes, these are highlights, but you cannot tell me right now that Curtis Blades doesn't have good foot movement and striking,
but
with good time takedowns.
Okay, I agree. He's decent, but can he do that against Mark Hunt?
Yes.
Jason, stop it. He cannot get in that kind of fight with Mark Hunt.
Let's do a bet right now. What do you want to put on it?
A booster juice.
A booster juice.
We'll do a booster juice.
Deal.
Shout out the booster juice. I love them.
Booster juice. I don't think they have booster juice in America. So if you're not listening, it's like a smoothie.
Orange Julius. They have orange Julius.
Yeah, but like natural. Anyways, it's like a Jamba Juice. I think they have a Jamba Juice down there. Yeah,
it's a smoothie bar.
It's just like that. Anyways, delicious. So we're putting a booster juice on.
Okay. Jason, come on, man. No, I get it. He can do that against. Listen, you're talking about Mark Hunt.
Winner has to drink it on our next podcast.
Yeah. And the other guy has to watch it.
Yeah. Sucking that bad boy.
He can't fight like that against Mark Hunt. If Mark Hunt clips him once, he's done. It's over. It's a night.
So what's your prediction? What's your prediction?
Mark Hunt first round KO.
I have Curtis Blades decision 30-27.
I thought you might say that, but I thought you were gonna say takedown city.
No,
stand up.
Okay. Is he gonna time a takedown? Yeah, but is he gonna be like? Is it gonna be Damian Maia, Tyron Woodley type desperation takedown? Hell no.
No, well, I don't even think we'll get to that point.
You're delusional.
I don't even think Curtis Blades will get to that point.
Let's move on to our next fight.
I mean.
Oh my god. Okay. Rockhold, I'm flabbergasted right now.
You're flabbergasted. You just said Curtis Blades is gonna stand up with Mark Hunt and win.
Yes.
Let's go to the main event.
Okay. Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero. Look, interim title. Of course, Robert Whittaker fell out. Too bad because he's from Australia. He wanted to fight there. But instead, we got a really good matchup between Rockhold and Yoel Romero. When I look at this fight, I'm going, man, both these guys have really good kicks, good striking, and really good wrestling, right? Luke comes from AKA, trains with animals. Yoel Romero comes from that Olympic background, has very strong grappling. Usually when you look at Romero, you go, man, you look at explosiveness, and he usually has the advantage. But Luke Rockhold, man, he's just as athletic and just as explosive as Yoel Romero. This is, like, I look at this fight and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. What do you say? Something like classic, like the fans win? It's a very tough fight.
It's a tough fight because it's intriguing. Because if you say, if I was betting on rounds, like if I said, who's most dangerous in the first round? You'd be like, Romero.
Yes.
Second round, Romero. Third, fourth, and fifth, Luke.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's because Luke is not as explosive. He's not as good of a wrestler. Okay? But Luke's jiu-jitsu and top game would destroy Romero's.
Yes.
Because Romero has ground and pound, but Luke has ground and pound with slick jiu-jitsu. Both aren't really great boxers. Right? Like, none of these guys are like, super, super high-level boxers. Both use kicks. Romero's got a weird stand-up striking system. I mean, honestly, his best strike, Romero's probably the flying knee. Probably. That and explosive, kind of like Superman overhand right punches. Luke's a little more technical.
Luke has I think the one factor in this is, will Luke go to the well with his, I believe it's his left body kick? Because he throws that very good and he's hurt a lot of people and he sets that up really nice. But the problem is, are you going to throw that a lot against a guy that could possibly take you down like Romero? Because usually that's a big factor in his fights.
Okay, so
you look at the David Brown fight, he was throwing that a lot. Chris Weidman fight.
When I look at Luke, I'm trying to take this in the deep waters because
Yeah,
In
I think
Romero's
so too.
last fight against Whitaker,
He gassed out.
we clearly saw a Romero in the first and second round that was super dangerous, winning those rounds against the champion, winning them. Clearly, undisputed, he won the first two. But in the third, the fourth, and the fifth, you saw a Romero at 50%. You saw a guy who just, based on cardio, couldn't do what he was doing in the first two. And we know Luke's cardio is on point. So if I'm Luke, I'm trying to get through the first two rounds. And I'm trying to put in work. What I mean by that is I'm hitting the body. I'm setting things up for later. Because Romero is a first... look at the way Romero's built. He's a first and second round fighter, right? He comes at you like a pit bull the first two rounds. If I'm Luke, I'm trying to get to the later rounds. I'm trying to wear him out. I'm trying to hit the body lots. I want a depleted Romero when it comes to fourth round.
Yeah.
That's when you can take him down now. That's when you can land your best strikes.
Good example of that is when Luke did that to Chris Weidman to win the title.
Right. Now, the scary part is in the first round, Romero is a monster.
Yes.
Is a complete monster. You somehow cannot get hit in that first round of Romero. And if he takes you down in the first round or second round, he can do nasty work on the ground. Ask Machida.
Yeah.
Right?
Ask Machida about both guys.
Right. Oh, by the way, like we predicted, you take down Machida, you bloody him up a bit. He's a different fighter. I was surprised Machida actually fought on from then.
Yeah, I know.
Like successfully. I was like, damn.
That was a pretty deep cut too.
Nasty.
Yep.
It was his eye and everything. Anyways, back to this fight. Just forgot to say that. Very interesting because you have to get through that wave, that initial wave, okay? And if you can do that with Romero, you can be very successful. Now, when we break it down as far as wrestling, I think Romero, ground and pound, Romero, jiu-jitsu, rockhold. I think the interesting part is if it doesn't go to the ground at all.
Nope.
If this becomes a kickboxing match, who wins?
Which might happen because they're both really good at the ground.
Right. When I say Romero has better wrestling, I think he's just a level up. But Luke's legit as shit.
Yes.
Right? It's basically saying DC and I don't know, Kane, like who's the it's very minimal, but I do think as far as explosive takedowns, Romero's just a little better. Now if this becomes a kickboxing, more boxing match, I don't know who wins that.
Yeah, very interesting, man.
Luke, I think, has slicker combinations.
Yes.
Romero is clearly, especially in the first two rounds, like I've said, is clearly the power puncher. He lands something, it could hurt Luke.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, you pretty much broke it down. It's so intriguing, man, because both these guys, like you said, strong wrestling, both very athletic.
I like both these guys, man.
Yeah. This also is a big fight for both guys because Rockhold, lost to Bisping, beat David Branch, and now he's looking to get back on track. And then, of course, you have Yoel Romero. If he loses, don't forget, he just lost an interim title fight to Robert Whitaker, now the champ. And this is an interim title fight against Luke Rockhold. So if he doesn't win this, he falls back a little bit.
It's also very intriguing because you look at Yoel and you say, if he had one more round in him, in that Whitaker fight, he's the champion. He's your world champion. He was 5 minutes. If he had 5 minutes more of the cardio he had in the first round, he's your champ.
Don't forget, the judges said that was a 48-47 fight for Whitaker, unanimous.
Yeah.
And it came down to round 5.
No, but I'm saying if he would have had just a little more cardio on and would have did the same thing he did in the second round and the third,
yes.
Fourth, fifth don't even matter.
Yeah. But you know what?
So I'm just telling you that's the level he's on.
I think Romero is going to make adjustments in his game to make sure that cardio is not an issue again.
You hope so.
I think he will.
Hope so.
I think he will.
And then if you're Luke, you're looking at him like he got caught with Bisping. We all know, listen, a little fluky.
Yes.
Right? It is what it is, right?
Land the punch, but we know if they probably fought
right?
9 out of 10 times.
Now in the David, so you still look at him after that as like, okay, the air quotes, some people call him the uncrowned champ or the real champ, whatever. Then he goes against Branch. Stand up looked clearly suspect.
Yes.
Did have a layoff. I will say that. Stand-up looked a little... I mean, David Branch is not the household name, but he can strike. He's a brawler. You know, he can get dirty. He did deal with that. Stand-up looked a little, wonky. But Romero's, got the best. He's not versed in Cain Velasquez with some hands. But he did clearly take David Branch down, and it was a whole different game from there.
Yeah. But that's not going to work as easily with Real Romero, right?
If Luke gets on top of Romero, I don't think...
Does Luke have the physical strength to take down Romero?
Not in the first two.
So he's going to have to drag this in deep waters to get a takedown. He's going to... I think he should stretch this fight as long as possible.
Well, yeah.
I think Romero, clearly, like you said, in the early rounds has the advantage, and Luke in the later rounds has the advantage. Let's go prediction time, man. What you got?
Holy smokes.
I know who I got. Want me to go first?
No, I'll go first.
Okay,
I'm going Luke. Luke, 48-47, unanimous decision.
48-47. I'm going to go Yoel Romero.
I don't think anyone gets the stoppage. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I know. That's one thing about it.
Unless the only... Romero, maybe if he catches him in the first two. And then I think as far as, like, Luke, maybe if Luke just puts it on him in the fifth.
Man, you know what?
It's a tough fight because it goes to the ground. They both have their advantages there. It's on the stand-up. Luke's probably got better kicking. Romero's more explosive.
I'm going to go...
If you're a hardcore MMA fan, this is a beautiful fight.
Oh, this is an amazing fight.
It's very
tough to choose, but amazing. By the way, the over-under in this fight is 1.5.
Yeah, take the over.
Yeah, I think so too. Man, who do I pick? This is so hard. I'm going to go Yoel Romero. Third round, I think he's going to get the stoppage. TKO.
Ooh.
Yes.
In the third?
In the third.
So you think his cardio is going to be on point?
Up to the third. I think he's going to make improvements on it.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. Anyways, it's a
By
phenomenal
what?
fight.
By what? Just ground and pound? Or do you think he's going to hit him with something?
I think he might catch him on the stand-up.
With what? I like that knee.
Nah.
Ever since I saw the Wyman knee, I'm like, oh, shit.
That's brutal. I want to go with...
Can he, I mean...
I think he's going to catch him with a right hook.
Right hook?
Yes. Because Yoel Romero likes the pressure, and we saw in the Rockhold with the David Branch fight, he kind of stuck to the outside, and Branch caught him with a right. So I'm thinking that Yoel might catch him that way.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
I just thought about when he was fighting Whitaker, and he's coming out to the Cuban music. And remember his coach?
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
Doing the salsa. He's doing the salsa behind.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Funny, like, you and me were laughing our asses off.
That made the pay-per-view.
You know, he's coming out, Romero, you see the camera's on Romero, and just behind him, the Cuban coach is dancing.
Buddy, he's got that jam on,
He's doing the shake right now.
Yeah, he's got that
shit. Was hilarious.
He's got that jam on right there. This is going to be a phenomenal fight from Australia, of course. But yeah, this main event is just like, man, I ain't doing no parlay on this. I'm throwing that parlay on Curtis Blades, though. Curtis Blades is going to show you.
I'm throwing money on Mark Hunt.
Okay, well, you're losing money.
Stop, just stop.
Anyways, we're going to find out. Someone's going to be having a nice booster juice. My flavor's mango
hurricane. It's going to be good in my gut.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be enjoying a booster juice.
I'm going to get the bananas away.
Yeah, you're floating your money away when you're going to go down to the booster juice and get my ass a mango hurricane. What's up, fam? Anyways, episode 31 in the books. We'll find out episode 32 who is drinking the booster juice. Enjoy the fights from Sydney, Australia. Hopefully find out what the heck is going on with UFC 222 because that's in less than a month. So hopefully by that time we have a main event. I think it should be Frankie Edgar Ortega or maybe Nate Diaz in the UFC. Might come to terms again. Hopefully we see a video of Nate Diaz slapping Dana White on the face again. But make sure you tune in. Thanks for checking us out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, iTunes, Player FM, Google Play Music just got on there. Uploaded on YouTube. So if you're a big YouTube person, our audio is on there as well. Make sure you go to whatever, hit the like and subscribe button, follow button with an overhand right, and we'll check you out next time.